Hello and welcome to Sheila Lives Out Loud. I'm Sheila Monyega. Thank you so much for joining me on this channel. As always, please click subscribe and hit notifications. And don't forget, every Monday we do try to share information that's relevant to COVID for as long as this situation is unfolding across the globe, across our country. We are walking with you and addressing the fears, the concerns, and everything else that we're dealing with in this time. Season 8 of Sheila Lives Out Loud started off on a very different note, but I hope you're still here and I hope you're learning something. If you see something in this conversation that you believe needs to be shared, tafadhali, share, and also drop us a comment at the bottom of this video. Thanks again for watching and joining me today for a conversation on being mentally together, on dealing with this crisis as it unfolds, is Jane Katuga, a life and wellness coach. Hello, Jane. How are you?
Hi, Sheila. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for making the time to speak with me.
Thank you too.
These are unprecedented and extraordinary times that we find ourselves in. And I think a lot of us are living in shock and a level of disbelief, like we're dreaming about this and we're going to wake up and life is going to go back to normal. But what really is normal anymore, Jane?
I think it's a wake-up call for all of us, in the sense that we've always believed what we've had was what we called normal. What we had was we were in control of what we had, but we're waking up to a new reality that actually it was just a perception. We were never in control, and that was not actually normal. We are living in times which I'm calling extreme. We're living in times which I call confusing and also interesting in the same breath, because what's normal?
Yeah.
How do you explain normal? What is normal?
Yeah.
It's very hard right now using that word, what's normal, because we are finding every single day something new is unfolding. So what's normal?
That's a great place to start. And I think there's certain expressions which are now part of our language that never were before, like unprecedented, social distancing. And I think one thing that is going to be very interesting to see and observe when things go back to normal is there certain things we're going to have to just leave behind, like shaking hands. In many ways, I'm a little antisocial like that. I would miss that bit of human interaction. But we're going to have to come up with new systems of relating with each other and interacting with each other. But in this time, we find ourselves mostly spending our time indoors and looking at our relationships and understanding what we thought we had is not necessarily the case. People are fighting a lot more. There are a few more arguments. There's a lack of understanding. There's just a general feeling of dis-ease in being in such close proximity with certain people who are maybe our spouses, partners, children, and now understanding and making that shift. Where do we begin?
I believe the place to begin is not to fight what is happening, because what we're doing actually is making what is happening right now very wrong, because we were used to a certain way of living. So we are making what we have right now very wrong. And the minute we start going into that place of making it wrong, we are desiring what we had before. So the minute we go into, I don't like what is happening, I feel like I'm closed in, I feel like, oh, I'd like my life back, I'd like what I had before. That's a dangerous place to be at, because who knows whether we'll get that again. And so the first place is to look at acknowledging that what we have right now is very new to us. And it requires different ways of navigation. What are these different ways? That's what we need to find out. How do we navigate this place without necessarily making it wrong? It is hard to first acknowledge it's something different. It's hard. We go through a process of first fighting it, wanting it to be different. And then we finally get to the place of acceptance. And once we get to the place of acceptance, is now that we've gotten here and acknowledged this is where we are, how do we navigate? Which are the ways that we can use to navigate this new space in which we find ourselves?
It's all about acceptance, and acceptance is not always a very easy and quick process. like you said, it's something that goes through certain stages before you finally come out at acceptance. There are a few, what shall I call them, stops along the road to acceptance. But it also points to something that we were taught as children. I don't know if you were ever a no, you were definitely not a Boy Scout, but if you were a Girl Guide or a Brownie, they always used to teach us, be prepared, be prepared. But in life, there's nothing that can
Yes.
prepare you for a crisis like this one. So what do we do with this time that we have?
Well, nothing was going to ever prepare us for this, because who knew?
Yeah.
So yes, even when we are told prepare, what we've been told to prepare, the inevitable, are we ever prepared for the inevitable?
Mm-hmm.
And who said this was inevitable? So there's a lot of stuff that is going on right now asking, should it happen? Are we blaming someone for what has happened?
Yeah.
Is it really something that is just happening, or someone else is causing it? There's a lot of questions that are going on. And therefore, that's why we're struggling with, my God, so what's this? Can God tell us? Can he even shine some light and tell us what's going on, and when it comes to an end? So I don't know how much prepared we could have been for this, Sheila. It's very difficult. As we live every day, last week, what we had in the country is completely different from what we have this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, so every day something new is unfolding. So how do you prepare for something is constantly unfolding? So it's just acknowledging, just as we thought that we had a semblance of normalcy and we had a semblance of control in our lives, where we knew, okay, so next Sunday I go to church, I do this. What is happening, we're now being rocked to understanding we probably never had any control.
Yeah.
And now dealing with that is very difficult for us, because now it's like going down the slide and you have your hands up and you have no idea. You're sliding down and you have no idea where you're going to stop. And when you do stop, where you eventually get to stop.
Yeah.
So it's we need to create and find new ways of dealing with this, what is unfolding for us every day. We cannot use what we knew before to deal with it. It has to be a new way of thinking, a new way of just navigating this process.
I like what you said, that we can't go back to what we used to do, because the situation is not what we ever knew. And so
No.
in I know you've been talking to a lot of people in your capacity as a coach, and I'd like you to help us, because anxiety is real. We're all going through it. We're all displaying symptoms of anxiety. The degree is probably what will vary, but we're all not quite the same and not what we used to be. So I'd like you to share with us a few tips to being focused, to being calm, to being accepting of this situation, because it's scary. I believe most of us are truly petrified.
For sure we are. The first thing is to really acknowledge. That's where I feel somebody else might look at it very differently. But the first place I feel we need to look at is the difference between the situation that we find ourselves in,
Yeah.
and then what we say about the situation. Because what brings about the anxiety is not the situation we find ourselves in, but rather what we say about the situation we find ourselves in. And here we're saying what we are reacting to is the interpretation of the situation we find ourselves in. So if we would look at a first step, then it would mean the interpretation that makes us become anxious, become stressed about what is going on. Yeah. Then we need to ask ourselves, can we have another kind of interpretation which wouldn't land us in that place where we are feeling very anxious, very fearful? Is there a way we can look at it differently other than the way we are looking at it, which is bringing us down? So that would be the first step, I would say. Looking at what we normally will do is the commentary that goes on in the head. Like now, okay, so what's going to happen to me? I don't know whether I have a job at the end of the month. So what happens to my rent? What happens to my kids? What happens for that?
Yeah.
So where we're going is becoming anxious. It hasn't happened. Okay, there's some people who have lost their jobs for sure, but we're asking ourselves, what is going to happen? And we are looking around to see who can explain this to us, and no one really has an answer. What's going to happen? No one can give you an answer. And if they do give you an answer, they'll be lying. What's going to unfold tomorrow? We have no idea. But who are you going to be as it unfolds? Who am I going to be in the midst of all this?
Right.
So one of the things I look at is, if we're going to find peace, or find some place where we can not keep reacting to situations, is find things that we need to stop doing that are not really working for us. Things that we can introduce into our lives. So that means, what can we start doing?
Right.
And then obviously there's some things that we've done that are helpful, so we can continue. So I always say, there's a stop, there's a start, and there's a continue.
A stop, stop, continue.
And a continue, yes.
I love that. Right about now, I know a lot of people who are continuing with drinking because there's more time to sit back and knock them back.
Yes.
And then there are a few people who've started, for instance, with the drinking. It was maybe something they had stopped. But then extraordinary times call for sources of comfort. And sources of comfort can be anything. They can be eating, they can be drinking, could be going back to habits which you'd given up. And some of these are not necessarily in line with preparing you for who you're going to be tomorrow, or what you're going to be tomorrow. So if you could advise us on certain things to indulge in, and things to maybe watch out for in this season, or should we really just be taking a break and knocking them back anyway? Because, hey, anything could happen tomorrow.
Well, there are a couple of suggestions that I would have. The first one would be to stop expecting the worst. Because the reason why we're drinking, or gone into excess drinking, I have nothing against drinking. I do have a drink once in a while, but the reason why we would then go into excess is because we are expecting the worst. So if we continue expecting the worst, we do not want to face the world as we're expecting the worst. So we want to find something that is going to numb us, whether be it a drink, be it, this is the time we also find that we get into times when we also start abusing food. So we need to stop expecting. We said stop, start, continue. We need to stop expecting the worst. Yes, let's stop expecting the worst. You remember something, Sheila? The universe doesn't give you what you ask for with your thoughts. It gives you what you demand with your actions.
Girl, my hands are up in the air.
So why can there be something good that comes out of this?
Yes, they can.
I'm seeing so many beautiful things coming out of this. We are reaching out to each other as communities more than we've ever done. We even now care about our house managers and finding out, okay, they may not be coming into the house, how they're managing. We are raising money to get them care parks, food, whatever it is.
That's true.
So is there a possibility that we can stop expecting the worst? Because that really drowns you, So let's stop expecting the worst.
Right.
And ask ourselves, what would be the best use of my time right now? Rather than expecting the worst, what else can I put into my time?
Okay.
And you can be in a place where you say, I don't know what will happen, but certainly stop expecting
the worst.
The other one is stop doing your overdose on social media fear-mongering. Oh my word. I belong to a lot of WhatsApp groups, and some of them I've just blocked now.
It's just
too much information. It's just too much. What are we doing to ourselves? Every day you wake up, every waking moment you're awake, you're looking to COVID-19. How is that helping you? I've reached a point when I call people and they start giving me information about COVID-19, I actually let them know I didn't call COVID-19. I called Sheila. Is it possible for me to have a conversation with Sheila?
Yes.
Yes. We need to stop. Now, that's not to say that everything that is coming through social media or media, the mainstream media, is a lie. No. But really overdoing it, anything that you overdo, you know where it will damage your life.
Too much of anything.
Too much of anything.
Yeah.
And then you need to remember something. The most sacred place in the world is your mind. Guard it ferociously. Do not entertain all this information, because that is why you're getting to be so anxious. You're hearing people saying, oh my God, people have died. Oh my God, we're going to be put on lockdown. Oh my God, this is going to happen. All right, tell me what you can change. Even here today, oh my God, what is that doing to you? What is it doing to your life on a daily basis?
It takes you back to fear and expecting the worst, and you feed that and continue getting that. Yeah.
So do you have control over that?
No.
You do have control over what you put into your mind.
Over what I think? Yes.
Yes. You do. And even what you entertain yourself with. This information is just too much. There's an overload on this information. Sheila, I only give COVID half an hour of my time every day to just update myself with what requires to be done, the things coming from the government, what is required of us.
Yeah.
Beyond that, I don't. Because I realize this is one way to drown myself, quicker to drown myself. So please stop the social media rumor mongering. You're of an overdose right now. Stop it.
Yeah.
Create time that you can have an update and only choose the information that you feel is useful for you. The rest, just leave it out.
Right.
Stop making this disease your main focus.
Yes.
What I say is what you focus on grows. What you think about expands. And what you dwell on determines your destiny.
Yeah.
Is there something else in life that we can talk about other than COVID?
Plenty.
19. There is. There definitely is. And what I'm saying, that's why I said to you, when I call people, I say, please I didn't call COVID, I called you. So let you and I have a conversation. Because I'm feeling like there's nothing else. It has taken center focus in our lives. Yes, granted, this is a new phenomenon. However, it doesn't justify the kind of attention and prominence we are all according it. It doesn't. Because the more that you get there, the more you stay there, the more it consumes you, the more you lose yourself into it. Please stop making it your main focus. There's so much more in life still happening.
Yeah.
Let me give you a bonus one. On a stop.
Okay.
Which I feel is very, very important. Stop diminishing your relevance. Now what's going to happen to me? What has COVID done to you? Has it taken away your skills? Has it taken away your ability to do what you're doing right now? No. Has it taken away your ability to think? Stop diminishing your relevance. When you become a victim of a situation or circumstance, you lose your relevance. In this way, you surrender to what is facing you, and you see no point in doing anything to salvage your situation.
That's very powerful.
Yes, there are people who are finding skills or discovering skills that they didn't think they had, or they knew they had, but they had never brought them to light.
That's true.
People have started baking. Yes. Go ahead.
And discovering strengths. And I'll be honest with you, I discovered something about me and myself yesterday. It's one thing to say, "Oh, I'm strong." But there's another thing to know that you're a strong individual. And yesterday I discovered my strength. And I got so emotional. I realized, you know what? I'm actually a lot tougher than I've given myself credit for.
Yeah.
And I'm scared for the world. You're not ready for this. I'm here now.
Okay, Sheila. Go, Sheila. when I say your relevance, because what I've seen, guys who didn't know there were things they could do, they're doing them now.
Yeah.
And initially I went into a space where I was like, oh my God, all my trainings were canceled, all my coaches were put on hold.
Yeah.
And for a moment I went like, oh my God, what happens to me?
Mm-hmm.
What am I going to do? How is this going to work out for me?
Yeah.
And in the time now, being a coach, I also do sometimes go to other coaches. So I started my coaching on, online.
Online. There you go.
Yes. And I'm actually going to be launching some programs next week.
Well done.
Because I do realize there are people who need sessions. There are people who are struggling. There are organizations who do not know, even when they have people working at home, how to deal with that. Because I'm still relevant.
Yes, you've got to.
Because I haven't diminished my relevance. But where can I use it? In what platform can I launch it?
Right.
So it's really, do not diminish your relevance. Okay? Yes. So now let's move to what?
To continue or to start?
No, to start.
Okay,
what to start? I love what you're doing right now and even engaging in this conversation. And one of the things that we can all start to do is become the voice of reason. To come, the voice of reason or voice of calm in the environment.
Yeah.
You want people to be saying, when you're not feeling when you're feeling unsettled.
Yeah.
I know one person, you can either go and watch their YouTubes or you can just talk to them, is Sheila. Because in this time, she's become the voice of reason.
Yeah.
Start doing something like that. There are people who have gone, who are just in the space where they feel like one more push, that's it. They'll commit suicide. One more push, this is it. So we need to be in the people who stand in the gap for those people and be the voice of reason. Be that voice that calms people down. Be that voice that says, I am not telling you I have answers, but they Sheila have no answers. I have no idea when this is how long this is going to go on. But I'm saying, as we go through what we're going through this storm, I'm willing.
Together.
We're going through it together.
Yeah.
Yeah. And one of the things I've discovered is going upstream in a storm. That's a quickest way to drown yourself.
Yeah.
Go downstream. This is the way we are going. Stop saying this is the way we did things. Yes, that was.
Then
we are starting something new.
Now.
Right?
Yeah.
So also, in the same light, become the lighthouse. You know how a lighthouse operates, that directs the ships when they're in distress, or at least letting them know there's a port nearby. Are you that person? That lighthouse? That person who shines light? Because when we diminish, we don't give people permission to bring out their own.
Yeah.
It's so important. And this time, that's what people are looking for. People who can shine the light. People who are holding a candle for others, because we're saying we need to be together in this.
Yeah.
Because together we can navigate it much better. So another thing I am saying, especially if you belong to WhatsApp groups, when you see all these other messages, be the first one, even if you do it at 1 o'clock in the morning. So when people wake up and find it, the person who shares that message of hope. I keep saying and reminding myself that the poorest person on earth is not one without food or shelter, is one without hope. And the one thing we can offer people today is a message of hope. The worst thing you can also do to a person is take away their hope. And how we take away their hope is by passing on those messages that I said stop.
Yeah.
I keep saying, when you're sending a message like that, ask yourself, what is it going to do to the person who receives it? So be the person. Be that person who starts to be the light of the hope, the person who inspires hope in other people.
Yeah.
The generator of hope. In a time like this, it's so important to remind ourselves, despite what is going on, there are things that we can still be grateful for.
That's true.
You have a roof over your head. You have food.
Yeah.
You have even though we are not sure what happens, you still have a government that seems like it's still in charge.
Yeah,
you don't have a president who is throwing away things and saying, I don't know what happens next. Yeah. Sorry, say that?
Yeah, there's a form of stability that is still in place.
Yes, so we need to just find things to be grateful for. And when you start your day with gratitude, you find that it opens up space for you to find more things to be grateful for. You know, despite what happens, the sun still shines in Kenya.
Yeah.
That's something to be grateful for.
Yeah.
You know, so let's start looking for things to be grateful for. In this time, become very, very just careful with how you spend your money. Become very frugal with your expenditure. Don't just go and buy. People who went into panic buying when it first was announced. Some of the things they bought, they've never used. They're still in the pantry.
Yes.
Okay, we don't know how long this is going to go on, and it's not to scare people. But let's just be that person who says, okay, do I really need this? Or am I buying it to make that feel good for 10 minutes? You know, that gratification for a few minutes. No, do I really need this? And in the same breath, this is the time to also declutter.
Right.
You have so much time, and you have so much. You've even noticed now, Sheila, I know you have many pairs of pretty shoes. When was the last time you wore those shoes?
Can't tell you.
Exactly.
I'm looking at them, I'm thinking, I didn't know you were here.
Yeah, exactly.
Then I'm finding a pair, and then I found two that were quite similar, and it turns out I didn't think I had it, but I did, and I bought another one. And I'm thinking, Sheila, really? You don't even have to check what you have.
Okay, time to declutter. You know, when you declutter your house, you also declutter your mind. Believe it or not, you always feel like there's something that you have just released from yourself. Some of those things, we are now beginning to understand what is important in life. Yes. If I don't have a conversation in a day, that would concern me, not the shoes, because I can't even remember when I last wore shoes. I don't have as many, Sheila, but yes. You know.
Don't worry about it. I'm more barefoot than in shoes.
Yes.
So what are they for?
Exactly. And finally, just one is to relook the way you do things, the way you do your business, both as an employee or as an employer.
Yeah.
I'm finding that I struggled a lot. You know, it was something I was procrastinating. I want to go online. I want to do this. I want to do this. Now I've been thrust there.
Yeah.
And I'm saying no more excuses, no more.
No, it's done now.
No more procrastination. Now, you know what? This is the new space I'm finding myself in. So guess what? And a lot of us are going to find that even after what we call normal, does come back, some people will still prefer to work from the house.
True.
And a lot of meetings, we're going to do them this way rather than the physical.
And crossing the city, spending time in traffic, that could be held virtually. We're done with those commutes. Done.
Yes. So there's so many things. You know, this is not an exhaustive list. There's so many things that I can share that we can start. It's a start. But remember, what is important in this time is to know the things that you completely need to stop doing. The things that you can start doing that are going to be helpful in your life. And most importantly, the things that you continue to do. Yes.
And what do we continue doing?
To work on things that work for you as a collective. We need to understand that when we sometimes take a selfish stand, it affects the entire community. Live in Langata, and I do know that the day before the curfew, there's a place called 1824. Now, nothing against it. But you know, but the number of cars that were parked there on that particular day just before the curfew. And I wonder, do you understand why we are being put on curfew? I know all of us have been calling it social distancing.
Yes.
And I'm going to share something today. Hopefully it will open up something for you. The worst thing that we can do to ourselves right now is social distancing. And maybe that's not what they really mean. They mean physical distancing. The quickest way to go into a depression is social distancing. Now, on that particular day, because even on Wayaki where there's Njogonas as well,
Yeah.
when we're in a social place, how much physical distancing do we have?
Zero, none.
So even as you're doing something, continue to do things that are good for you and as the collective.
Yeah.
So that we don't go there because it's the last day, it's the last day, it's the last day, but then we end up spreading. If at all somebody is unwell. Yes. Yes. In just one evening, we could mess up a lot of things. We could have those numbers so up, yeah?
Yeah.
The other thing I'm saying is continue to believe that this too shall pass. There's nothing permanent, although I was reminded that God's love for us is permanent.
True.
Continue to believe that this too shall pass. Even the Spanish flu did.
It did.
It did. This too shall pass. And it's important as we think about that to know that there is hope and there is going to be a day when this will not be the main focus in our lives.
Sure.
This too shall pass. Yeah? Continue to pray. Continue to pray. That spiritual ritual that you have, continue to pray for yourself, your family, your country, the world at large, everyone, because all of us are in this. And most importantly, continue to reach out to those people around you. There are people in a really dire state. They just need one word from you, a word of hope, a word of inspiration. And that doesn't cost you anything. Continue to reach out to people. Most important, continue to know the difference between the situation and what you say about the situation. Because what is drowning us today is not the situation, but rather what we say about the situation.
Wow, yes. Wow. Jane, I could talk to you until the sun sets, but I know you must get to work with all these new things that you're cooking in the kitchen for all of us to indulge in and to share and to just learn from. Thank you so much for your time. I wish you all the best with your endeavors.
Thank you.
Remember, my doors are open. Whatever you think I can do to help you in your quest, in your mission, I'm right there for you, cheering you on, saying, "Hapa na wewe."
Asante sana. Let me also say thank you so much, Sheila, for inviting me to share what I do best.
Thank you.
And I love that you're opening up this space. This probably will help somebody who's sitting there wondering, who do I turn to? So let's continue this conversation. Thank you.
Yes, indeed. Thank you for your time and thank you for watching this episode on this channel. Please click subscribe and hit notifications. Drop us a comment below and share this video because Jane said we've got to be the light, and the light comes in many different ways, through huge windows and through tiny little cracks in the wall. Let's just spread the message of hope and let's keep each other going and in good spirits as we go through this situation. Remember, we're going through it, not that we've arrived to it, we've gone through it. Okay, so we'll catch up in our next episode. Till then, live out loud in all that you do. Bye for now. Bye, Jane.